more interesting to me about our exchange is I was not expecting you to go the opposite way. I was not expecting you to be so emphatic that at least 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. And there'll be people watching this who I think will be very surprised by that, because you have built a reputation for being, if not a Holocaust denier, then somebody constantly questioning in a downward way the number of Jews who were murdered. That doesn't appear to be what your position is now.
No, and here's what I would like to see for my entire career. When I started my show, it started with a good faith inquiry where I was questioning a lot of these narratives and I said, what is the answer on the other side? But what I found is that the answer was criminalized. So when you would talk about anything regarding Jews, Israel, the Holocaust, you could be in favor of the official narrative on those things. If you went against, you were banned, censored, and in some countries jailed. And so I actually haven't made up my mind on that because that's not really a matter of interest to me. And there's a lot of analysis and scholarship on both sides of the issue. And I've read both sides of the issue. And honestly, unfortunately, it's hard to judge because there's never been a debate on it. And there's never been a debate because of the stigma, because of the censorship.
The thing is, Jets, I don't think he's the person that he doesn't need a debate. Like, he doesn't need a position. He can just say whatever the fuck he wants. That's what's really disturbing. He can say whatever he wants. And that's why it's terrifying.
And I think that leads a lot of people to say, well, what do they have to hide? Because you can say on your show, well, I'm personally against Holocaust denial laws, yet they still persist and the social consequences still persist. And I think that that is the anomaly. And people have to wonder, okay, why is it that way? And what I said in that clip is the reason the Holocaust casts a long shadow is because it confers a political benefit upon organized Jewry. That is what they always fall back on. They cannot be criticized. They cannot be named. They cannot be talked about, lest there be another Holocaust. And no other tragedy is treated that way. And no other ethnic group has a get out of jail free card. Just play.
The thing is, the problem is that because Congress and the Senate have kind of acted this way, they've only initiated anti-Semitism, like be against anti-Semitism. They haven't done anything else about any of the other bigotries. People are going to listen to this and be like, yeah, he is right. Yeah, why is it that I'm not seen as well? That's what's really disturbing. Is because he's saying things that people are seeing for themselves because our corporations are owned by David Ellison or our corporations are supported by AIPAC and the thing is that the Democrats are letting this happen instead of realizing, like, no, we should be on the human rights side. We should support Palestinians. We should support people from Somalia. We should support immigrants. We should support trans people. We shouldn't throw anyone under the bus. They should be focusing on that, but they're not. They're letting this motherfucker with a position that you would think is very simple to beat them. And that's what's scary. Because imagine listening. So it's an hour and 7 minutes in. We've listened to all of this. And you're like, yeah. But all of a sudden, this part kind of sparks your interest. And you're like, huh, wait, I agree with that. So then you start listening to him more. His clips start coming up on your phone a little bit more. And you starts luring you in a little bit more. That's what happens. Just a little bit. And then you're learning. That's why more people are listening to Nick Fuentes. That's why more people are listening to Candace Owens. It's a really big issue.
Like that, anti-Semitism and Holocaust, you can do whatever you want and defend all your actions. That's the part that people are getting upset with. That's the problem.
I don't know any right-minded person who believes that Jewish people weaponized the Holocaust for their own personal get out of jail free or whatever you called it.
Pierce. Randy Fine, Zionists, they do this all the time. Like, you have to, that's the thing, like, you have to acknowledge, like, Zionists specifically use the Holocaust all the time as kind of a shield, and yet when they do that, that's anti-Semitic. But then when you acknowledge that doing that is anti-Semitic because they're committing a genocide under the religion of Judaism, even though Judaism is not what is happening. Israel's the one committing a genocide. Zionists are like, no, you're being anti-Semitic for saying that. That's how they trick you. It's taken them a long time to figure out all these bullshit.
You don't know anyone that does that? That believes
I'm
that?
sure there are some people that do that, but it's such a ridiculous generalization. You know, the truth is that most Jewish people have lost relatives in the Holocaust. In fact, I want to play you two clips. One is where you talk about Adolf Hitler.
Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, you know, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool.
Do you regret saying that?
Saying a fact? No, that's absolutely true.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
Yes, I do.
One of the,
And I'm tired of pretending he's not,
well,
to be honest.
This is the problem, you see. It's a bit like when you just say, I'm a racist. You're a racist who thinks Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic. If you're a Jewish person watching this, what are they thinking? I'll tell you what they're thinking, because I've got a friend of mine called Danny Finkelstein, who, when he heard I was interviewing you, he's a Times journalist in the UK, very eminent journalist here, and author, who wrote a book about his own family's experiences at the hands of Hitler and Stalin, because he also told Tucker Carlson that you admire Stalin. But let's just take what Danny said here.
Hi Piers, it's Danny Finkelstein here. As you're interviewing Nick Fuentes, you might try suggesting to him that he reads my book, Hitler, Stalin, Mum and Dad. It's called Two Roads Home in the United States. Since he says he's on Team Hitler, you might like to ask him about the fact that Hitler arrested my mum, tried to starve my mum to death, did starve my grandmother to death.
This is definitely something some edgy teenager would say. Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
My great aunt to the gas chamber, my great uncle, my cousin. My grandmother on my father's side ended up being one out of 7 children.
This is not going to connect to him. This, look at his face. Look at his face. This is shaming him, is not going to connect with someone who literally does not feel shame. This motherfucker said Hitler's fucking cool. Do you really think he has shame? He doesn't have shame. So see, you have to, I think that's another reason why people connect with him so much, is because, specifically young men, because for so long, rightfully so, this is how a lot of people were talked to. Like, hey, this is why Hitler's bad. I think it's a perfectly just reason to explain why Hitler's bad. Actual people's stories. But for people who don't give a fuck, it's not going to connect. For people who literally are like, yeah, okay, hey. It's not going to connect. You have to find things that are going to connect with these people. He's sitting there in one ear, out the fucking other. Do you know how many times I've had teenagers look at me like this when I'm trying to say, hey, what you're doing isn't the best. Like, let's try to find another more healthy way to handle our feelings. I get that fucking look. Like, if you talk down to them, or if you talk to them, and they're the type of people that they're not going to hear it, they're not going to hear it. That's why I think a lot of people, specifically young men, enjoy Nick Fuentes. Because he's like, okay, enough, I get it. Like, 6 million Jews died, next. Like, he like pushes it off like it's no big deal. Because he does what other people want to do in their own lives. If that makes sense. That's the kind of behavior he's giving. I've seen this behavior so many times with all of the kids I've worked with.
The only one that survived the war. So you might ask him whether he wouldn't rather be on Team Mum rather than Team Hitler. And as for celebrating Stalin's birthday.
See, look right here. Look at that face. He doesn't care. He's going to say something that's going to piss off Pierce. What he's going to say is, obviously, I'm going to choose Team Hitler. Watch. I could also be wrong, but like that face says it all.
Well, Stalin took my father, sent him to a state collective farm, sent my grandmother.
See? I don't know if you saw that. He was like, I don't know if you saw that. I can play that again. I wish I could like move his face bigger, but I'll play it back a little.
since he says he's on Team Hitler, you might like to ask
Look at
him
his face.
about the fact that Hitler arrested my mum,
Right
tried
here.
to starve
He
my mum to
smirks.
death, did starve my grandmother to death, sent my great aunt to the gas chamber, my great uncle, my cousin. My grandmother on my father's side ended up being one out of 7 children, the only one that survived the war. So you might ask him whether he wouldn't rather be on Team Mum rather than Team Hitler.
Right
and as
here.
for celebrating Stalin's birthday, well,
See?
Stalin took my father, sent him to a state collective farm, sent my grandmother and to a state
Yawn.
collective farm, sent my grandfather to the Gulag. You might try asking him why he doesn't celebrate Dad's birthday rather than Stalin's. It may all be
Smirk.
a big joke to him, but he complains that he was 18 when
Shit.
someone tried to cancel him. Well, Stalin and Hitler arrested my mum and my dad when they were 10 years old. So perhaps he might like to reconsider his joke.
See, that's the reality of your jokes, although I haven't ascertained yet whether you are joking when you say that Hitler
He doesn't
was very
care.
fucking cool. Are you joking, or do you actually think he was very fucking cool?
care.
The most
He was
genocidal
cool.
monster of the last
Fucking told
150
you.
years.
Yeah, the thing is, my generation, we're just done with the pearl clutching. You know,
Yeah,
we
you might be,
make
but then your
edgy-
generation hasn't gone through.
Told you. See, I have seen this way too much in the teenagers I work with. This is not pearl clutching. What he is doing is, it's very clear that he does not have a mind. I think right now he has the mind of between a 13 and a 15-year-old. He does not have a mind of a 27-year-old. This is the mindset of a 13 to a 15-year-old. He does not have a mind of a 27-year-old. I can tell you that right fucking now. Because I can tell the mannerisms like this. I've seen it so much.
What Danny Finkelstein's family went through. So
Yeah.
maybe the pearl clutching
doesn't
has a way to go
care.
for families whose family members
Oh my
were
gosh,
murdered.
yeah, we got all that. We, you know, me mom, like we're, you know, I don't even know who this person is. Why is this person talking to me? This old British guy is saying me mom got killed by Hitler.
Because
And
he
me
doesn't
dad
find
got
it
killed
funny
by-
when you say Hitler's very fucking
I don't
cool.
care.
He finds
I
it
don't
I know you
care.
don't care. That's fine.
That's the thing. That's why he connects so much to young men. That's why when teenagers listen to other people instead of you or their friends, they're like, yeah, because you don't understand. You don't understand. That's why young men like him. Because he's saying how they feel. He's connecting with how they feel. That's why you have to battle saying, just because you may not know this person specifically, just because you may not have a connection with that person, doesn't mean that that person and their family doesn't matter. Change the narrative. Change the way to connect with young men and young women who have thoughts and feelings like Nick Fuentes. If you shame them, like Pierce is trying to shame him, it's not going to work. When you have the mentality of a 13 to a 15-year-old that's stunted and it's filled with hatred and bigotry, if you are going to pick prod, shame, fine, fuck you. I don't want anything to do with you. I'm going to do what I fucking want because I know what's right. I fucking know what's right. How many times have we heard a teenager talk like that? You can't shame someone who doesn't feel shame, especially in this specific topic. You have to find a way to connect with them.
You don't have to care, but he does care.
Does that guy care about America? Does that guy care about me and my country and my family? No.
He
That guy
cares what you,
that's
a
the
prominent
problem.
conservative in America, has to say about Adolf Hitler. And what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Okay. And that's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, I do.
Can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow
He
up?
murdered
That
12
is just
million
childish.
people. He murdered 12 million
Okay.
people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits, it's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II and it's fascinating and it's interesting and it's compelling. and it's cool. And, you know, we're just tired of saying these kinds of things. We want to talk like real people and give our honest opinions. And then we literally get an old Jewish guy from England who's going to say, oh, that's not very funny, mate. Me mom. And it's like, shut up. Like, you know, no one is in favor of genocide. So let's just get that out of the way. We're not in favor of a Holocaust or genocide.
Do you think if half your family
80 years ago,
you think if half your family had been wiped out by very fucking cool Hitler, you'd still think he was very fucking...
But here's the thing that I know it's cringe to go, like, I get it, I do. It's painful to hear. I hear you. But he is never going to change his fucking mind if you continue to talk down to him this way. He's not. And that's where the Democrats need to change their tactics. So one thing specifically he said is, well, he doesn't care about my family. He doesn't care about America first. He doesn't do this. And Pierce was like, well, he's a conservative, all this stuff. And you can easily kind of break that down. Well, he does care. He cares about his family just like you care about your own family. He cares about his parents just like you care about your parents. You were very passionate about when I spoke about your father. Did you hear how passionate and heartbroken he was speaking about his father who was taken by Hitler? I think it's important to understand that you may not connect with them because it's a different time. It's a different time in history. It's a different country, and you may not connect with that country. That's fair. But one thing I can tell you that you connect with is family values. Something that Christians really focus on, family values. Y'all focus on family values. Y'all focus on pride. Y'all focus on country pride. If you can find different ways to connect in these ways, connect to intertwine on the importance of values, on the importance of connecting to people who are leaning more alt-right, you can easily destroy his tactics. But if you go, shame on you for feeling this way, shame on you for feeling this way, why do you feel this way? They're not gonna fucking listen. Is it hard to deal with? 1,000%. Is it really fucking confusing? 1,000%. But I think that when you have someone who people can see that's a bad influence, obviously you're going to go for a bad influence, especially if you're a teenager and a young adult. You're always going to pick that person. Because why are you going to listen to someone who tells you and shames you, hey, pick up your clothes all the time, or hey, you didn't do your homework today? Why didn't you do your homework today? Hey, you got to see a plus on your homework today. Hey, you need to get a D. You need to raise that D to an A. I don't know why it's a D. You should know better. You need to know better. You need to work harder. If you don't change how you speak to them, they will never listen. And when you're at the fucking other. It took a long time for me to understand that when I was working with my kids. It took a long fucking time. The only reason I know is because Nick Fuentes, looks exactly like the kids I used to work with. Kids who were very racist, came from very racist households, but knew nothing else. Except they were told what they were saying was wrong. It's hard. It's very hard. And I think what people need to understand, and I think what's hard for Pierce, especially, understandably so, though. I can't blame Pierce on this. Pierce is a boomer. Like, you're a 60-year-old man hearing a 27-year-old say, I love fucking Hitler. That's gotta fucking hurt. That's gotta fucking hurt. So you have to find different ways. So I don't know where the his friend Danny's from, but it seems like he may be from 2 different countries. So maybe that would not be a good person to focus on for America First values, or like a country nationalist type of person. But you can focus on a family values type of person. Nick, it said multiple times, he's very close to family. That's how you connect. You find something that they connect with, whether it's their family, whether it's their country, whether it's feeling empowered. There's always something you can just needle out of them. But the people the groypers, it's all about the power that they feel that they don't see when people shame them. So that's why they like lash out, because then they feel some sort of power, even if it's negative power. I hope I'm making sense.
Fucking cool? Or would you think that actually he was a despicable monster who murdered 12 million people, who targeted people because they were disabled or Jewish or Romani Gypsy or whatever it may be,
Polish.
and that he systematically destroyed people, incinerated them in gas chambers? Do you think that you would find it very fucking cool if your family had been through that? Or do you think you...
Have y'all seen this face from school? From your classmates? You've probably seen this face before. Or maybe you've done it yourself when you're getting yelled at by your teachers or your classmates. Yep, that shitty student face. That, okay, we got it, enough. You're not gonna bother me anymore. I get it, I'm a bad kid. I get it, I got under your skin. Okay, you're gonna embarrass me. Well, I'm just gonna move on. You can't hurt my feelings. I'm gonna put this front on. I'm gonna make sure that people know that I don't give a fuck what you say to me.
would find it very fucking disgusting, and perhaps moderate the number of times you laugh about it, or want to joke about it, or want to abuse someone like Danny Finkelstein, who's written incredibly powerful books about what happened to his extended family at the hands of the Nazis and your other hero, Stalin. See, my point to you, Nick Fuentes, is that in parts of this interview, you try to come across as moderate, but every now and again, the mask slips, and it slipped again here with what you say about Hitler. There's nothing very fucking cool about Hitler. We know that from history now. We know what he did. You've already conceded that he murdered at least 6 million Jews. So when you say he's very fucking cool, Jewish people watch this and go, this guy's disgusting. Why would he say this about someone who perpetrated such an evil? And what's the real answer? Why do you? Is it just for clicks? Is it for money? Is it just for fun? For shits and giggles? What is it? What motivates you to say something like Hitler was very fucking cool?
It's for this. It's for all of this. And the lack of self-awareness is amazing. You're a boomer. You're a 60-year-old boomer. And we've spent maybe 3 minutes on you saying, he's a really fucking monster. He incinerated people. This. And I'm sitting here saying, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. And
not that
and what
serious.
I'm getting at.
Not that serious.
Do you want to say more about
well,
he's a monster?
You're not kids yourself anymore. You're not a teenager.
I know.
Right? You're nearly 30, to be clear.
Yeah,
okay? You're a fully formed adult who has a brain. Right? And at some stage, that brain is taking you off these rabbit
warrens. Is this an interview or is this a lecture? Can I respond to what you're saying?
I want you to explain why you think it's fine to say how fucking cool Hitler is and to dismiss the very powerful 90 seconds from a British journalist who lost a lot of family members to the Nazis in such a callous, dismissive manner.
I don't think it's powerful. I think we've been hearing that our entire lives, okay? The Schindler's List. Let's just be honest. The propaganda is over the top. We have been in America.
What about the Schindler's List? Tell me about the Schindler's List. Well, tell me about the Schindler's List.
I'll tell you about it. We have been browbeaten as a people, as Americans, as Westerners, for our entire lives. And do you know what this has done? It has taken away any sense of pride, any sense of love for our own civilization. We have been made the villain in our own story. We have been made because, well, let's just be clear. It doesn't begin and end with Hitler is a monster. This has been the political narrative, which is why we have thrown open the borders. This is a political narrative, which is why we can't be a conservative society as a whole anymore, why we can't be proud of Europeans, why we can't be proud of being Christian, because they've told us if you're too white and too proud and too Christian, it's going to lead to a Holocaust. And so my generation, our
what a
entire
crock
lives.
of shit,
Wait,
honestly,
no,
Nick
it's true,
Fuentes,
and that's why people like me. That's why I'm popular, because this is bullshit.
Honestly,
Yeah, it's a crock.
what
We
you
don't want to
just
hear
said- what
anymore
you
about
just
me
said-
mom and me dad.
what you